guys, great to see you all again. Awesome having you back here with me. Today we're going to look at 6 tips here on how to give an effective oral presentation. So let's get straight into it. First tip I would like to recommend you is always to have good eye contact with your audience, right? It's very, very important that you maintain good eye contact with your audience. The reason for this, it will show you're confident and it will make the audience feel they're included actually in your presentation. So try to avoid just fixating on one area of the room or perhaps just 1 or 2 people. Yeah, try to engage the whole audience, right, with your eyes. So maintain eye contact with everyone in the room. Sometimes it's not possible because maybe it's a huge room with loads of people, but just try your best. Just sweep your eyes from side to side, because it makes the audience feel they're included in your presentation because you're looking at them, right? And if you just look at one part of the room or perhaps just look down or look up, they're not going to feel included in your presentation, right? So think about when you meet someone as well for the first time and you start talking to them, eye contact is really important, right? If that person doesn't keep eye contact with you when they're talking to you, you feel a bit awkward, right? You feel a bit strange, right? You feel like you're not really being included in the conversation perhaps. So always remember though to maintain your eye contact with the audience, with as many people as possible. All right, another good tip here for you guys is always to remember not to speak too fast, all right? Now, it's very easy to speak too fast because when we're nervous, we naturally speak fast, right? So when you give a presentation, always be aware of that. Pace yourself. Think about a long distance runner. When they start, they don't just sprint straight away, right? They take their time. They start slowly. So you should do the same. Right? Because if you speak too fast or too quickly, the audience may not understand what you're saying, or they may misunderstand something, right? Because you're speaking too fast, right? So slow down your speech and make it nice and clear so everyone can follow exactly what you are saying, right? Awesome. Another tip here for you is what we call nonverbal communication. Now you may be thinking, what does he mean by nonverbal communication? Well, simply this relates to your body language, right? So for example, when you give a presentation, don't fidget around like I'm doing now, right? Don't do this, or fidget around with something like a watch, or put your hands in your pockets all the time, then take them out, then put them back in again, or keep putting your hands in on your hair or through your hair, right? Because if you do this, the audience will think you're nervous, right? And not very confident. So you don't want the audience to think that, right? So always be aware, right, of your body language. It creates a very good impression on that audience if you've got good body language, because it shows you're confident. You are able to deliver your presentation. So think about your posture as well. Don't just like lean to one side, like this. Think about your posture, correct your posture, nice and upright, hands by your sides, all right? Because it shows you're confident, right? It projects that you're a confident speaker, right? And people are more likely to follow what you're saying, because if you're fidgeting all the time, it may distract people from your speech. They'll concentrate on what you're doing with your hands rather than listening to you. So always be aware of your body language. It shows if you're confident, or not. All right there, guys, A further good tip here is that when you're practicing, obviously for your presentation, always remember to video record yourself with your iOS device or Android, because it's always a good idea once you finish your practice session to have a look at how you did, right? And you can have a look at how you did anytime you want, and you can keep replaying and replaying it again to see what your strengths were, but equally what you were weak at, so you can improve on it next time. So always a good idea. Why not get a friend to record you or record yourself, with a device, And then afterwards you can reflect on how you did. Could I do something better next time? How could I do this better? Always a good idea to do that, guys, right? Further tip here as well is always remember how you are dressed as well, and because this is quite important. Whether we like it or not, people form an impression on us, a first impression, sometimes the way we are presented. So, for example, if your tie is out of place or your jacket is hanging off or something like this, always check over yourself before you do a presentation to make sure you look nice and neat and tidy, yeah, for that audience, because that's the first thing they're going to look at when you get on that stage is how you are dressed, you know, how well groomed are you? Do you look like you just got out of bed with your hair sticking out everywhere? Or do you look well groomed? Do you look smart? Do you look presentable? All right, it does make a difference that. So do remember, you know, your presentation, how you look in how you dress and how well you have groomed yourself there, guys, yeah. Final tip I'd like to tell you, and it's probably the most important actually, is don't worry about making any mistakes, because it's only natural that we make mistakes, right? We all do it. It's human nature. We learn from our mistakes, right? But when you make a mistake in the presentation, don't apologize to the audience. Don't say sorry. Yeah, just carry on as naturally as possible, because 9 times out of 10, they're not even going to realize that you've made a mistake. Just continue as best as you can, as if nothing has happened at all. Don't stop and, you know, say, oh, I'm really sorry, I've made a mistake here, this is incorrect. No, don't do that, because they're not going to really know that you've made a mistake, right, until you acknowledge it. So don't acknowledge it. Just continue as if nothing at all has happened. All right there, guys. Hope those tips have helped you, and hopefully they'll help you get a good grade in your oral presentation. So as always, guys, you know the drill. Take it easy and stay awesome.